All right, y'all. We have a full moon in Sagittarius coming in on this Sunday, May the 31st of 2026. And this is a very expansive full moon, to say the very least. The ruler of this full moon is, of course, Jupiter, and Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. There's a lot of other things going on right now, but really, the bigger picture is kind of the theme for this full moon. And I think there is a lot of shifting of our belief systems, shifting of what we consider to be reality, and really tuning into what our reality actually is. It's giving us clues to the meaning of life, or the meaning that we assign to life, and what that means to us personally, not necessarily what everybody else assigns to the meaning of life. What story have you been telling yourself that you have been believing over and over again that is no longer in alignment? What is the truth versus what is the story? This is about expansion. It's about truth. It's about freedom. Yes, Sagittarius can be about independence and freedom seeking and adventure. Those are all themes of Sagittarius, but that's kind of the surface level. This is a full moon that is really kind of illuminating something deep within us that has always been there, but has yet to be exposed. Now, also keep in mind it is Gemini season. The sun is in Gemini, and during Gemini season, we really want concrete facts. We want information. There's a lot of fast forward movement, and this is really toning down all the information that we're getting, because we could be getting conflicting information from various different sources. And this is about tuning inward, especially with Jupiter, the ruler of this full moon in the sign of Cancer. This is what is aligning with you more emotionally, more intuitively, and what is going with the flow of your life. All right, I was trying to get another angle on my camera to do something a little bit differently this time and show you guys the chart that I printed off and go through it one by one with you, but I'm just going to put a chart on the screen somewhere, so stay with me. So this full moon in Sagittarius is at 9 degrees and 55 minutes of Sagittarius. Some of the aspects it's making. So it's making an exact in conjunction to Mars. Mars is in the sign of Taurus. Now, when I'm looking at this aspect, the moon in Sagittarius, this is a very big energy. It's a very emotional energy because the ruler is Jupiter. Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer. There's a lot of feelings floating around. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of just things that are coming at us from all angles, especially during Gemini season. But Mars and Taurus, Mars is debilitated in the sign of Taurus, and Mars and Taurus moves very slowly. So there's these two parts of us that are not in cooperation with an in conjunction. One part of us refuses to move, Mars and Taurus, and another part of us wants to expand. So where have you been holding yourself back? Where are you not in alignment? Where are two parts of you split down the middle? Typical Gemini season energy, right? There's two parts of you that are not in agreement. One part of you, wherever Taurus is in your chart, is where you're trying to stay in your comfort zone. Now, we also have a trine to Saturn. This is a supportive energy. Saturn in Aries is really maturing our it's maturing ourselves, but it's doing so in a way so that we're making more refined actions and refined choices. Now, Saturn doesn't actually do very well in the sign of Aries, because if you think about it, Saturn is a very restrictive force. It slows things down, whereas Aries is ruled by Mars. It wants to go very fast. It wants to be impulsive. It wants to make kind of like foolish decisions, right? But Saturn in Aries is teaching us to mature. It's stabilizing that Aries energy to make sure that we're making the right choices in the correct amount of time. Now, that's not delaying your action, but it's maturing your action so that you're taking action from a more matured and stable, grounded place, right? It's in a fire sign. Saturn in a fire sign is going to be productive no matter what. So that's certainly something that we can use with this full moon. It's a trine from fire to fire. So this full moon is asking us to align with disciplined action. Now, I will say that this trine to Saturn, yes, it can be very productive. It can mature us and it can discipline us, but it can feel very heavy emotionally. There is, like I said, there's a lot of energy flying around in the collective. We have Uranus bending the nodes, which is a topic for another video. But when the moon and Saturn are in any aspect, even though it is a trine, it's going to be heavy. It's going to feel like things are out of your control. And maybe that's because things aren't supposed to be in your control. They're not entirely supposed to be controlled by you. So there is this element of letting go. We also have this full moon in trine to Neptune, which is also in the sign of Aries at 4 degrees. So there's this element of connecting to your intuition, letting go. What are your dreams? What are your belief systems? that are shaping your expansion forward? What are the outdated belief systems, your outdated worldview that need to be shed and let go so that you can expand further and be more emotionally aligned? There's something here about being updated, being uplifted. Um, there's a story that no longer fits. There's also a supportive sextile to Pluto at 4 degrees of Aquarius. And this is interesting because, Pluto is the only planet that's in retrograde right now. And Pluto is having us refine the Aquarius area of our chart from a deeply subconscious point of us. So this is something that we may not be consciously aware of, that we're updating, that we are recalibrating. And it's aligned with this full moon energy because this full moon energy is meant to propel us forward, to expand us to a bigger, better version of ourselves, specifically where you have Sagittarius in your chart. So look to see where you have 9 degrees of Sagittarius. That house could be significant. Of course, it's going to be significant to your entire chart. So if you want a reading, you can email me or DM me and we can set that up. We also have some funky aspects too with the ruler Jupiter at 23 degrees of Cancer. Jupiter is in a semi-square to the sun, an exact semi-square. Semi-square, these are minor aspects, so I'm not going to go too far into them, but it's in a semi-square to the sun and it's in a sesquiquadrate to the moon. So it's a funky energy. This is going to be a big energy. I think there is a lot of things on the world stage that could be coming out. It's a very unsettled energy, but it's almost like we're trying to grip on so hard to facts and information and all these different things that are coming at us in the mind, especially. But there's an inner knowing that you already know the answer to. And that's letting go of the old self and the old ways of doing things where we need to know all the facts, right? Gemini season. I feel like there is a lot of mentally scattered energy, especially because it is Gemini season, but with these funky aspects with the sesquiquadrate and the semi-square, the inconjunctions, which I wouldn't necessarily consider that a minor aspect, but it's almost like there's a bigger truth than the fragmented information that you're being fed or that you're feeding yourself. You're probably feeding yourself this information through the mind. So it's like letting go and seeing things from a bigger picture, like astral projection. Quite literally, I'm seeing somebody being like lifted out of their body and seeing something like completely from a different view. There is definitely this visionary energy. Like, what are you envisioning the future to hold for you? What is the story you've been telling yourself versus what is the truth of your heart, of your soul? What feels, Jupiter in Cancer, most aligned for you? What intuitively feels aligned for you? And this is not about thinking small, this is thinking big. But the ruler is in water. So all of this energy is being filtered through Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted, mind you, especially related to how you feel, where you feel at home, people that make you feel at home, your belief systems around, how you feel, your emotional well-being, your intuition, your spiritual connection, your roots, family. Those things can be definitely significant, but there is a bigger picture that you've been missing, but maybe you know deep down. And I think that Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is helping us rewire some of those subconscious belief systems. And there's a part of us that's trying to recalibrate, but this full moon in Sagittarius is trying to bring out the bigger picture and the bigger understanding, right? Something no longer fits and something you have outgrown, particularly in the Sagittarius part of your chart. So that is all I have for you. Happy full moon in Sagittarius, guys, and I will see you soon.